the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on a Monday morning. We are glad that you have joined us wherever and whenever it is that you join us each and every day on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. Glad to see all of you this morning. Jason, glad to have you as we do on most Monday mornings. Faith, is always good to see you as well. Wish it was under better circumstances, guys. Auburn going on the road Saturday and just not pretty. So, won't take much to dive right directly into this. Auburn on this 2-game road stretch felt like you needed to get at least one. They don't get either one. Jason, just kind of your initial thoughts, and we'll just kind of go around the room.
Yeah. It's kind of strange because I honestly feel like, it's 3-2. You get a chance to get Georgia at home, and you still have everything left to play for on the schedule. But to me, it feels like it's so different had you lost Saturday 40-30. If you'd lost 40-30 and given up 40 points, the mood would be entirely different because you go, well, offense is humming. You got things going to shore up the defense. It feels completely different because of what we saw on offense, especially Saturday. Oklahoma, there were open receivers. You had all the sacks, all the things, but you went, man, there were plays to be had. Saturday just felt like an entire fundamental collapse. Not fundamentally from the player execution standpoint. There's plenty of that. Fundamental from the top down. The lack of running the football, no attempts. Not even trying to run. I don't know. It was, and I hate to use the word, but I mentioned it. I said, and it felt like it. It felt like they went from patient to panic in a week and a half, and it felt like it, and like it was trying to do so much, and instead of just play. And I don't know. I don't know the answer right now because I still feel like this team, I know they are. This team's talented enough to win. That's part of it right now is, look, you're as bad as it's been, you've had the ball in both the games with a chance to win the game. As bad as it's been, that's the positive from it. The negative is, I don't know offensively if you can go out and do it. I think they can, but I haven't seen it yet.
Jason, where do you think this offense goes from here?
I have no idea. I really don't. The first thing you got to figure out is who you are. And 5 games in, I don't know what this offense is at the moment.
No identity at all.
It's not RPO because to RPO, you got an R at some point. Like you have to run the football.
Yeah.
And they're not running it, not trying to run it. If you're going to be basically a run and shoot type of team, then to me, I don't know that Jackson Arnold's the answer at quarterback if you do that. Right now, it doesn't look like to me that he's seeing the field very well, and he's holding the ball a long time. Now, the offensive line's not helping him. Listen, it's not all on him, but I think there's plays to be made the last 2 weeks in the passing game that weren't made. Now, like I said, does it all fall on him? No. The receivers, I know there were at least a couple of times where when the receivers went to the sidelines, the coaches were all over them because they ran through areas where they should have throttled down and given him a window to throw the football. So some of that, but again, that's entire passing game. I think, can you run the football? I think they can. Can you run it well enough to go out and win games and run for 300 yards? I don't think you can do that either. I don't think anybody can. We just saw it Saturday night.
You got to do better than 4 carries in the first half.
Well, you had 8 carries the entire game.
The whole game
for your 2 running backs. 4 of those came when it was 15 yards or more to go. So basically, you had 4 legitimate running back carries Saturday, in my opinion. That's all I'm counting.
That to me, that's where it all starts. That you hear from Coach Freeze during the week. Run the football. Got to be patient in the run. Got to see it through. And and I think you're right. And Faith, I think agrees. I mean, we talked about it so many times that when this team's built to run the football. We saw them against Baylor, even though it was Jackson running or whoever, controlled the line of scrimmage and won the game. And people went, well, man, I'm glad to see Auburn finally took what a defense gave them and said, look, we don't have to throw it around if that's what you're going to get. And they took that and they won the football game. I think the offensive side of the ball has regressed all the way to where we are now. And it's like you said, Jason, it went into full-blown panic mode on display against Texas A&M on Saturday. And it's like nobody knew what the heck to do. And I just think you don't give yourself a legit chance to win when you come out of a game and you look at the number of carries. Like Jeremiah Cobb had 6 carries against Oklahoma and he had 6 carries against Texas A&M. And if you told me that all week you were going to concentrate on running the football and that's all you were going to get out of your primary running back, I mean, to me, I don't know what you're doing. That just sounds like you say one thing, you do another. Doesn't seem like anybody's on the same page.
Yeah, no, it's, obviously you have to find out what you're doing. I think part of it too is, they were able to do some things early on, but Baylor's defense is awful.
They're awful.
Ball State's defense is worse, and South Alabama's is just a little bit better. And it was honestly, it was a red flag a little bit because we had people talking about it. Go, look, like you can't throw the football down the field even against these teams.
Right.
And they're like, well, they're kind of taking this away, so you're doing this. Well, other teams takes things away too, and you're still able to do it to some degree. That's the red flag for me going, look, there's something fundamentally wrong. I just don't think, honestly, I don't care what you do. I don't think you can snap your fingers now and go, all of a sudden you're going to be really good on offense. You can be better, but I don't think at the group that we see right now, in my opinion, I don't think you can say, oh, they're going to go out and score 30 against Georgia. Not the way the things are going right now. Because look, like I said, Georgia ran the ball Saturday night against Alabama. They had almost 300 yards rushing. They scored 21 points and lost the game because Alabama was more balanced and did things. But the biggest deal right now is that offensively, you're not going to be any good if every third down you face is 3rd and 10. It's an impossibility. I don't care who you are.
Yep.
And Saturday, or the last 2 weeks, Auburn has 3 third-down conversions, had none Saturday, and they've averaged 10.5 or 11 yards for 2 straight weeks on third downs. It's not going to be successful. That's where you get the 4-yard run, 2nd and 6, give yourself 3rd and 4, and it felt like they're chasing the big play so often that all of a sudden you look up and it's 2nd and 9, 3rd and 10.
Do you think that on the offense, if you were and this is to both of you, I guess, if y'all were in the position to switch up something on the offense or make something click, what would it be? Excuse me. What would it be that you would do to have a different outcome than what's been going on?
Well, I mean, I'll go first. I think you got to figure out why you are making so many mistakes on the offensive line. Like you win football games by controlling the line of scrimmage, and all we heard going into this season was this is the most veteran group, most experienced group. We heard about draft picks, all the accolades, and now we look at a bunch that's disheveled and that really makes so many mental errors. And like you said, Jason, it's not all on Jackson. There's part of it on Jackson, but a lot of it's on this offensive line, not missing assignments, man, and pre-snap penalties. Faith, you asked that question in the press conference about the penalties. Jason, you asked about the running game. I ask about the third down efficiency. I think those are the three most important points right now about our offense as a whole. And the three of us asked those questions in the post-game presser, and he gave the same answer to all of us. I mean, I don't know that he knows what the answer is, Jason. I mean, what was your thoughts?
No, I mean, like if you knew, you would think you would. I mean, you'd fix it. I think that's the thing. I think you come in going, look, this offensive line is full of guys that the NFL feels like have potential, but they haven't played that way. And so now you go, okay, you got 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks to go. Okay, what needs to happen? So this is, to me, the next 2 or 3 days, maybe the most important days of Hugh Freeze's tenure to this point, in my opinion, because this is an opportunity to go, okay, do we have other options? Because right now it feels like it's now, honestly, now it feels like panic mode to me. Now it is, can you find a reset button somewhere? And I think you're right. I think it has to start with the offensive line, because no matter what else happens, you've got to be better there. And so are those the 5 guys you feel like are the best? Because if they are, then you have to figure out, okay, how can we win with those 5 guys? Because you cannot win with those 5 guys right now, dropping back 35 times a game. You can't do it. So if those are your 5 guys and you feel like, well, they can run the football, then you're going to have to run the football and just go, look, we're just going to have to run the football, run Jackson Arnold, do the jet sweep game, and turn into the Philadelphia Eagles. If that's you feel like right now that's the best chance you got to win, then that's what you do. If you don't feel like those are your best 5 guys from a talent standpoint, then you got some other guys. Now they're young, but Dre Carter and Kale Ellis and some of those guys, okay, what's it look like? What does it look like? That's where it has to start, and then you go from there. But I do agree. I think offensive line has to be the first look, because that's where everything hinges, no matter what happens on offense.
I think it goes back to identity. Faith, I want to go back to an analysis that you made a month ago, maybe longer than that, when you and I walked out of practice one day and you said, the thing I've noticed off the hoof is the energy that we have on the defensive front, and the way they hop around and look like they have fun at practice, and the non-energy that we see on the offensive line group. And look, as small as that may be to some, I think where we sit now in this season, I see it as a glaring issue. I think you nailed it. I think that, and I know the two mentalities are different. I know the aggression on the defensive line versus, but I've seen a bunch of mean dudes on offensive line that get after it in practice and have energy. And frankly, since you've said that to me, I've watched that, and I don't see a lot of energy out of that bunch. And it translates onto the field. I don't see a bunch of dudes going around manhandling people and challenging each other. I just see a lot of going through the motion.
There seems to be some sort of disconnect, whether it's with the group itself or with the ultimate objection, or the ultimate objection of what is our goal as the offensive line? What is our goal to do? And, different play calls call for different results. And it, to me, seems that they cannot all get on the same page of, this is our goal after each snap. And it starts with prior to the snap. It starts with the snap of, this is where a lot of our penalties are stemming from.
To me, the reason you have penalties is that you're uncomfortable. Maybe you're antsy about what the deal is. And to go along with your point, Faith, Jim just said, major problem is Jackson changes protection, slide right or left. 5 guys play like robots, only guarding the gap. If a defender comes from a gap that's not their gap, and that's been broken down by other offensive linemen on Twitter. I think Cole did it. I think Reese Dismukes has done it. He talked about some simple twists that Auburn's not picking up front. And so I don't know. Is it coaching? Are these guys not getting coached up to their potential? I don't have an answer. I don't think any of us, not to cut you off, Faith, to go back to you, but I just thought to go along with your point, what Jim just said kind of fits exactly what you're saying.
No, it definitely does. But it's just, Jason said it, it's identity. What is their identity as the offensive line? And you break it down into each person. And so I don't have an answer for that. I don't know.
Jason, why is Auburn having an identity problem this deep into the season? I mean, you talked about and we all talked about what we felt like was the identity going into the season. You went out and handpicked another quarterback. You knew what his talents were. You knew it was an RPO style offense. You had running backs that you felt like by committee. You didn't have a Jarquez Hunter, but you felt good about Damari and Jeremiah, and then at the time, Darrell Robinson, coming in. He's hurt now. So, but you felt like, hey, we're going to be able to do this. And then we've got these dynamic receivers that when teams stack the box, that we're going to, Auburn's going to make them pay downfield. I just see no continuity at all. Nothing.
Yeah. You see, for me, I thought the identity was 100% going to be passing game first because of the receivers, because of those things. And I think that's what they felt like offensively that was going to be the identity as well. And in the first 2 or 3 games, people are like, well, we're not going to let you do that. And you go, okay, well, we'll run the football. You run it and you win games, but it's not explosive. And so, I'm just spitballing, but like for me, you go like all of a sudden, and here's the thing, and I'm not blaming the Auburn fan base because we said it too, but all of a sudden it went from, well, for 2 years, people went, look, Hugh Freeze won't run the football. And then for 3 weeks, people went, why won't they throw the football down the field? Why won't they throw the football down the field? And now they football down the field, throw it down the field. And people are like, why won't they run the football? You either win or you try to keep people happy. And even in winning, people weren't happy. And we can admit that because I'm telling you, we all heard it. People were not happy because they weren't explosive enough throwing the football down the field. Now it's like, okay, we're going to throw the football down the field. Well, now you're not going to win that way, not unless you can run it. And I looked at the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday because this is the society we're in. The Philadelphia Eagles won a game yesterday, and they didn't complete a pass in the second half. And the theme coming off the field was them showing the wide receivers and how mad they were coming off the field. They won, but they weren't happy. Well, what's your goal? Your goal is to win the football game.
And I told people that we were all standing down there in the locker room, outside the locker room against Baylor. I saw Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons and the rest of that group. They were fine, happy as they could be. Didn't matter to them. You didn't see a Cam Coleman over there in the corner pouting because he didn't have 8 or 9 catches first game of the season, and Auburn was happy because they went.
He even said that he knew it wasn't his time yet, and it was working running the ball, and so he was like, "That's fine, that's fine."
Yeah, 100%. No, but I think it's just mentality of look, we feel like this is the strength of this team, and it should be. The strength of this team should be throwing the football to those guys, but it's not.
And that's frustration.
For whatever reason, frustrated. For whatever reason it is right now, this team is not built to throw the football. Not a bunch, but you cannot stand in the pocket right now and throw the football and win. Can't do it. So you're going to have to figure out, again, if you're RPO, then you better R, and you better get that going again and get people moving, because that to me is the one shot right now that this offense has a chance to go out and be successful.
Brett, we talked about it the other day, you and I, that when Peyton Thorne was at Auburn, he was slinging the ball down the field.
Yes.
Might be throwing it to the other team, but he was going to throw the ball. He was going to throw it before he got sacked. And now you've got Jackson Arnold taking sacks.
Dead opposite.
And right. And how does it go from Peyton Thorne last year to Jackson Arnold this year? Complete and total opposites. What do you do?
It's individual quarterback play. You have guys that this mentality, and I think the mentality for Jackson Arnold is not to make mistakes. And
and I have stressed that, Jason. His numbers are so pedestrian. You're not okay if you don't make a mistake. You're not beating anybody when you go out and throw for 125 yards and no touchdowns. I mean, you can be so conservative it's to a fault, and it's to hurt your offense.
You have to be to do that though. Like if you run,
you got to run.
If you run for 250, you can do that, but you can't do that. You can't drop back 40 plus times and have 100 yards.
This is hurting our receivers so badly to the point where, are we going to have this receiving group next year?
Well, like I said, they didn't help him out much either. Now there were a couple of balls that were thrown, but I agree. No, it's everything right now is
all out of
whack. It's on the line, in my opinion. And so, yeah. But here's the other part of you can't worry about who's back next year. That's the part of this that people have to understand. You got to go try to win football games any way you can. And if right now that means we've got to run the football 45 times, if that's Hugh Freeze and he's saying, look, we got to run it 45 times, then you got to run it 45 times. Because if it's the goal of, well, we'll need these receivers next year, and you're throwing it a bunch and you're not successful, it doesn't matter because they don't make it back anyway.
You got
to win football games. And to me, right now, I think you got to run the football to do it. And hey, the passing game will come off of that, and you'll have some plays. I just don't think this team is built to go back and throw it 40 plus times a game.
Well, Jason, appreciate you being on with us as always on Monday to get us started. Tell everybody how they can keep up with you guys over at 24/7. You guys do a great job.
Yeah, check us out, auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 network. Obviously, a lot going on. Bye week this week. It's going to be pretty quiet from a football perspective. I would guess that there's going to be a lot of closed door practices because I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do some shuffling this week to see what it looks like. And normally you do that without prying eyes. So I think we'll see a lot of that. But hey, you got basketball that's just kind of getting ready to roll. I'll go out to baseball this week a lot. They're doing some fall stuff, so this will give me a chance to get out there. So we'll have a lot of stuff going on this week, even with a bye week for football. So check us out, auburnundercover.com.
Jason, as always, appreciate you, brother.
See y'all soon.
Bye, right, Jason.
Jason Caldwell with Inside the Auburn Tigers does a great job. Faith, we got a lot more to talk about. Just getting started here. We had an hour and a half last night. Had a lot of people watching. I talked about your shoes melting on the field, and everybody was sympathetic for you last night.
I'm serious and not even kidding. I'm not being dramatic. I know my parents are probably watching this and they're like, all right, drama queen. I'm not kidding. Standing on the track on the outside, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I think my shoes are actually about to start melting. Like I think my feet are starting to burn because of how hot that track was, and it radiating through my shoes and the soles. Oh, it was so awful. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was rough.
Our heels still aren't right.
Yeah, it was rough all the way around. We're going to get to some of these comments here in just a second. We do want to get to some of our partners here on the program because that's why we do the program. They allow us to do it. Sensagreen.
Sensagreen for air that's cool and clean this fall during dollar days. Call Sensagreen for major discounts on HVAC repairs and installs, plus installation with Professor Greenbacks. Get HVAC smart at sensagreen.com through Thanksgiving with up to $100 off HVAC repairs, $500 off installation work, and $1,500 off a new HVAC system. Sensagreen with Carrier, turn to the experts. How cool are these coupons?
You could have used some coolness down there on the sideline at College Station for sure.
Yeah.
Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm in Birmingham, Alabama, and they work with municipalities, educational institution, boards of education on your next project where you got lots of money tied up. You want a program management company that's going to take you from the start to the finish. And when I mean the start, the pre-planning stages to the finished product, call on Scout Program Management in Birmingham, Alabama. They will lead you through your next big project, and you will be glad that you hired them.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn. I can only imagine how packed Bunkers was on Saturday with how much good football was on. So if you're not going to be able to, Auburn doesn't have anything.
And how frequented the bar was with all after that game.
Yeah, I can imagine it was probably packed. But, Auburn doesn't play this weekend, so you got to go to Bunkers to watch all the other games that's going to be going on. Wednesday through Sunday, they've got great food, great happy hour deals. Go over to Bunkers in downtown Auburn.
Faith, I don't want to turn this into a bash session, but we make analysis and people can agree or disagree. I think Jackson Arnold. I hear that some receivers maybe didn't. I saw from my viewpoint in the press box, and the one to Eric Singleton just stands out where it was a 4th down and he was wide open, and Jackson Arnold rolled to that side, and it was like, man, how do you not see him? How do you not see him open to throw the ball? And it's 4th down, so something's got to happen. So you just take off and there's 2 defenders right in front of you. You just run straight into them. And I don't understand the mentality. Like, he's so nervous to make a mistake that he'd rather go, okay, I know it's 4th down. I know there's no way I can get to that. I can get to the 1st down marker, so I'm just going to get tackled before I get there and turn the ball over on downs. I don't even at least try to throw it downfield and see what could happen. I mean, hell, if it would have been picked off, which nobody could have picked it off because there was nobody around it, it would either have been an incomplete or a complete pass, one of the two. So even in those scenarios where I don't see it being a high-risk throw, he won't make that throw. And Eric Singleton was extremely upset that he didn't throw the ball because he knew he was that open too. So, I don't know that that's fixable.
I'm going to have to go back and actually watch the game over just because I can only see in a tiny little lens the whole game. But, it's a problem when, I've got the little lens zoomed in and I am learning about anticipating when it comes to shooting on the camera photos, and I go to anticipate one of those passes, and then I ultimately see that he's getting sacked in the backfield. So,
or an official gets in your way. So
or an official gets in my way. But I mean, seriously though, if I go and I see that, it's focused on Jackson Arnold, and then I see kind of coming out this way that, all right, so I'm going to go here. And then that doesn't happen. And then I see that he gets sacked. And if I can see that with my little foot of viewing.
Right. All right.
I'm
going to get down to some things that may ruffle some feathers, but it is what it is. It's not, I'm making this up. This is facts. Hugh Freeze is 1-10 versus ranked opponents. He's 14-16 overall at Auburn. He's 5-13 in SEC play. Look, I give him a pass on year 1. Last year, he said it himself, probably should have won 3 or 4 more games. I totally agree. Totally agree. You pinned a lot of that on Alex McPherson being sick and not having a good special teams. Okay, I can see that, but you also had a quarterback last year that turned the ball over at such a high rate that they put you in that position. But again, it was an identity thing. You couldn't figure out. Jarquez Hunter went missing several games last year. He was the best running back in the league, and a lot of this not utilizing your talent is so daggum frustrating, man. And so here we are now in 2025, and it's another boatload of excuses. Well, that's on me. I got to go back and reevaluate. And what are you reevaluating at this point? Either you pick Jackson Arnold, you pick Peyton Thorne. So far through a year and a half, or Peyton Thorne was there 2 years, but through 2.5 years, the quarterback you've selected isn't getting it done for whatever reason. Either one is too reckless, and the other one's too conservative. Can you go pick somebody that can just actually go back to Jarrett Stidham and find a guy?
Think about Bo Nix when he came into Auburn, before he had any sort of coaching from Auburn. He was a good quarterback, and then he left because of Auburn, and he was a very successful quarterback at Oregon.
Of course.
And at this point, What do you do as Auburn? Do you choose Ashton Daniels? Do you choose Deuce Knight? Do you keep going with Jackson Arnold?
Why do we always go through this? Why are we always in a situation 4 or 5 games into the season where we're second guessing, or the coaching staff is second guessing what they're doing? I mean, what did you do all in the preseason? What did you do in the off season? And you were so committed and so immediately named Jackson Arnold as the starting quarterback after spring. There was so much certainty that, we know what we're doing, what our identity is. And it is so far from that. It is. And it's just, I think I'm exhausted from the few of us that have to go sit in the press conference and hear the same answer every week. I mean, there's nothing different. It's the same on repeat. And, I go back and I look at some things that we saw this weekend. The 3 opponents that Texas A&M have played at home. One of them was Texas San Antonio. One of them was Utah State. And one of them was Auburn. One had 18 first downs, one had 17 first downs, and one had 10. Can you guess which one had 10? Auburn. So you're telling me that Texas San Antonio found a way to get 17 first downs and run the ball for 203 yards, and Auburn found a way to run it for 52 yards? And you want to talk about blue chip ratio roster? Auburn's in the top 15 in the blue chip ratio roster. I mean, there's not even a comparison there. That's
what we've been saying, though, is when you have the roster that you do on paper, what's the problem when you aren't going and winning? And Hugh Freeze went ahead and said, it's my fault. It's my staff.
So what are they doing every week? I'm just asking,
exactly. What are they going to do this week and next week that's going to be so different to go and win against Georgia at home? What are you going to do?
I said this last night. I said that Auburn fans deserve better. And I know people that are watching that aren't fans of Auburn. They're going, well, there they are. Just why do y'all deserve it? We Auburn fans deserve better than they get for the time and the loyalty and the stuff that they like.
The Georgia game is still sold out.
Well, here it is, Faith. That's where I'm going with it. That atmosphere will be second to none. You would think Auburn's ranked 3rd in the country on next Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday. When Auburn and Georgia play at night, you would think Auburn's ranked 3rd, that recruits are going to walk in and they're going to go, man, this place is unbelievable. The atmosphere is unbelievable. The fans are packed. And then the play on the field is like, ugh, whoa, what in the world is going on? I mean, it just, to me, continues to not match everything else energy-wise and commitment-wise from an Auburn standpoint. And it's frankly embarrassing. And I hate to say it, and nobody wants to go through coaching changes again. Nobody wants to do that. But also, you don't sit around and accept mediocrity, or you become mediocrity. And Auburn has become mediocre over the last, 4 years going into this 5th year. There was a stat that was thrown at us last night. From 1981 to 2017, Auburn never went more than 3 years without winning the division. Or I don't know exactly. I should have written it down. But you may have some down years, but you'd get back within 3 years to playing really good football. We are 4 years now, and there's never been a stretch. Even the Barfield eras at the end of the 70s, where they had a couple 8-win seasons, by the way, and you didn't play as many games. We're in the worst stretch of Auburn football I think we've seen in a long time. And I said this last night, so I'm going to go on a rant again real quick for a repeat for those that missed it. The people that helped make the decision to bring Brian Harsin here, the leaders at Auburn that were at Auburn at that time that brought Brian Harsin in, destroyed this program to this point to where it is. Now, this is not – Hugh Freeze is into his 3rd year. It's his program now. but it started post 2020 when Gus Malzahn left. There's been so many bad decisions made that this program is in the situation it's in because of that. And Auburn's always had a way to find their way out of the trough, out of the valley, and they're struggling to get out of the valley. This is 2 years in a row Auburn started 0-2 in SEC play, and this conference isn't getting easier. It's not getting easier. I like Missouri and Vanderbilt. Look at them. Look at what they're doing right now. I mean, we look at these schedules every year going into the year, and we go, oh, well, that stretch right there. That was in the past Auburn mentality, where you look at it and go, okay, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, whatever, you should just check those off as wins. You can't do that anymore. That's where this program is. And you got to find somebody, whether it be Hugh Freeze or whoever, that can change the mentality of the program to get it back to where we all know Auburn's been all time in school history, and that's a top 15 program nationally. And right now I don't see it, Faith. I don't see the leadership that would get Auburn back to a situation where they're a top 15 program nationally and they're competing at the top level in this conference.
I think Brian just really summed up what you said. Game day is at Bama versus Vandy this weekend. Never thought I'd see that happen.
Boy, times are different. And Wade is right. The program, this where it all really started to crumble is after that 17 season when Auburn, look, if you'll remember, Gus Malzahn in 15 and 16 was on a hot seat. And then he goes out and gets Jarrett Stidham, and Jarrett Stidham saved his job. I've said it millions of times. He saved his job. And then Auburn went from a coach on the hot seat to let's give him a massive buyout. And then 18 and 19, you regress again. And then you get to the COVID year, 2020, and it's the same old vanilla mess. And Auburn says, look, we can't keep going down this path. And they part ways with Gus Malzahn. And whatever in the hell somebody decided to go find Brian Harsin in one remote corner of earth to go bring him in to coach this program. Who in the heck thought that was a good idea? Even people that have inside information and that have a beat didn't even have Brian Harsin on the radar as a potential. Like when that got announced, it caught everybody with their pants down. Like all the media that think they know something about what might come down the line and didn't even know that was coming. That's how bizarre a hire that was. And so I think he's right. Since that buyout really which is all approaching a decade in years now, 10 years, Auburn's been kind of out of sorts with this football program.
That's crazy that it's almost been 10 years.
That's right. I mean, what else can you say? And look, this is beyond, what type of scheme you're running on the field. Apparently, DJ Durkin and his side of the football can get it done. And guess what? Guess what we're seeing again, Faith? We're seeing a defense is getting better every week. Here we go again. If we want to talk about repeats, this is what we saw last year with DJ Durkin and that secondary. Everybody was all up in arms about the secondary against Baylor and how bad they looked. We were too, because we were like, man, we've been telling everybody how good the secondary is, and they put that on display. But guess what? They're reeling it in. They're getting better. I mean, Marcel Reed didn't do squat in that game. Nothing.
Yeah.
So it's getting better all the way across the board on the defense. Defense has kept Auburn in every game the last year and a half. And there's no
defense is the only one that scored a touchdown for Auburn yesterday.
The only one that had a play that you could go back to if you wanted to try to create a highlight reel. That's it. That's the only play. It got weird when Tony Franklin. Yeah, we don't have an identity. I think that's the biggest part of this whole deal. Is you got a quarterback that's apprehensive in the pocket. You got a bunch of star-studded wide receivers you can't get the football to, obviously. and you've got a running game that you said you were going to lean on, and you're not leaning on them, and you got an offensive line group that's all out of whack. That's it. I just summed it up. There's your sum of Auburn's offense right there. And you want to know why you can't score points? That's it right there. You know, when things are rough, Faith, in football, you go back to simplicity. You go back and go, well, let's dummy this down, take some things out, and do what we know we can do well. You know, remember Coach Freese saying that to start the season about the Baylor staff? I mean, about the Baylor game plan. He's like, we're not gonna take it, take everything in the arsenal. We're gonna just do the things that we know we can do well. Week 1, it's the best we've looked all year. Was week 1, and we've regressed since then.
And now we thought at first that if Auburn won against Baylor, you know, that would set the tone for the season. Then we said if Auburn goes 3-3, that's going to really set the tone for Hugh Freeze.
Well, yeah.
3-2 now.
And staring down the barrel of 3-3. 100%. All right, let's get to some more of our partners here on the program. Old Number One Customs, 334-752-6162 for your next bathroom, kitchen, bedroom, game room, outdoor living space. If you need it remodeled or built, they're the ones to do it. They do unbelievable work. I got pictures coming for everybody. It's unbelievable what they've done and pulled off in my house. You're going to love it. 334-752-6162. Check them out online and Instagram. Look at what they do. It's amazing.
JFA Blue Plumbing, go ahead and get that home Atlas water filter duo for just $15.99. It's important to have filtered water throughout every single faucet in your house. So call on them at 844-JFA Blue. And Oliver Ross, if you've got a tailgate, sorority, fraternity, day party, anything, Oliver Ross is the certified licensed bartending service for you. So go ahead and call on them to make sure that they can take care of all of your bartending needs, all the way from 20 people up to 20,000.
Appreciate all of our partners so much here on the program. All right, to kind of close it out here, Auburn off this week. A lot of regrouping, a lot of things to try to figure out. What changes are going to be made, what is going to be reevaluated. I said it before the A&M game last week. I said, you're going into an off week. If you see the same things in A&M that you saw in Oklahoma and some of these other games, do you reevaluate? I mean, is the best time to put a new quarterback in against Georgia? No. But, I mean, do you think Jackson Arnold's going to go out there and give you a chance to win? I mean, you gotta have to weigh those odds. And so I don't have an answer, but I don't get paid what they get paid to make that answer either. So that's why it doesn't matter what you and I do. We have to ask the tough questions of why things aren't getting done. That's what we do in the media. It's nobody's pulling for Auburn more than us because we cover Auburn on a daily basis. But if things aren't going well, then we have to ask why they're not going well. And we have to get some type of explanation. I mean, everybody's owed that because there's a lot invested in this from a lot of people. And again, I'll say it again, and people can quote me or whatever, but Auburn people deserve better than this. They do. And the product they're getting right now is way below subpar.
It's frustrating just year after year to see, especially this program that has this roster that they do and have this outcome and watch it each and every week.
Right. All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for a Monday. We got a full week coming. There's a lot of different things going on. We'll continue to talk about this and, be a little bit lighter on because it's not game week, but there's a lot of soul searching that needs to be done. A lot of different things that we'll break down throughout the week on the program. So make sure you tune us in every morning at 8:00 for our podcast and at noon for our show. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Helps us out to hit that like button as well. And so many of you have done that. So we appreciate it. Continue to help us spread the word. Faith, let us send us into a great week.
I hope everybody has the best week ever.
Absolutely. Do something nice for somebody. Be nice to other people. It's a lot easier to do that than it is to be mean. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. We will catch you tomorrow for more of the Auburn Blitz.